This episode, we're going to be talking about researching brokers, broker credit, things like that. First of all, let me just say, I know everybody's, in terms of broker credit, it's A, B, C, D. And obviously A being the best, D being this next step before I, which is ineligible, do not work with them, hard stop. Just because a broker is a D-rated broker doesn't always mean that they're absolutely trash at paying their bills. It might just be the way that they set their business up and their system up. C's and D's cause us to research more. So just so you know, here's what I mean. Let's use DAT as an example. DAT on the right side of that screen. So it'll be on this side of the screen. If you're looking at DAT, the load's here, you kind of click on it. It's got the load details down here. And here's the MC number, right? Check that MC number. Put it in Safer Web. Put it through your broker credit checks. We currently use RTS. So I can put it in there, and RTS shows me the email address that's registered, the phone number that's registered. And of course, the phone numbers are going to be different because, we as business people set up like one number is this, the actual number that we use to do business is a separate one. Things like that can happen. But here's the deal. If the area code here is Maryland, Washington, DC, something like that, but the phone number on DAT is out of Wyoming, I know everybody's gotten that Wyoming phone call where they say they're legitimate and they're based out of here. You're not based in Wyoming, GTFO. So those kind of things, for me, that's a hard walk away. No, thank you. That's a red flag where, no, I'm good. I mean, I might call let's say I'm really, really hungry. Let's say you're really hungry and the numbers don't add up and you decide you're gonna call, just have them send you an email. You'll know immediately at looking at the email address or the domain, the @Gmail kind of stuff. If it says @Gmail, whatever it says, walk. For us, that's what we do. I don't play with @Gmail. So that's another thing that's a red flag for us. Things that I also check if I really have to is their bond active? Is it paid up? When does it expire? And here's the other thing. Let's say that this broker's absolutely trash and just wearing that bond out. That bond is a pot of money. When that pot of money is exhausted, there's nothing left. You can't make another claim. Nothing from nothing is still nothing. So be very careful and be very intentional about who you work with. The other thing, so we've got phone numbers. If they don't match, they're worth an investigation. @Gmail, @Yahoo, Hotmail, MSN, blah, 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 blah. That's a hard stop for me. No thanks, I'm walking away. If their bond is not active, walking. And here's the last and final one that I just recently spoke about. Here's a perfect example. We were looking at a broker. We were looking at picking something up. The broker has their own portal for logging in and onboarding. It wasn't through Highway. It wasn't through Truck Stop or RMIS, and it wasn't through My Carrier Packet or Descartes. They have this portal. They're asking for all this information. They're asking to be a certificate holder and all these other things, which in and of itself aren't issues. However, when the metaphorical hay keeps getting stacked on the horse's back, eventually we're going through this. Then it's time to sign the broker carrier agreement. And by the way, we haven't signed a rate con, which means I am not legally obligated to do anything. I can walk away, I can back out, no problems. And I know some brokers would be pretty pissed off, and I understand that if you put your time and effort into us talking and whatnot, and then I walk away, I understand why that's frustrating. But we don't just walk away and just give somebody the finger and say, hey, no thanks, I got a better load. I'll explain. And that's what happened yesterday. So we get to the broker carrier agreement. First of all, it says that it's governed by the laws in Ontario, Canada. And that if we were to have any problems, we would have to fight it out in Ontario. I'm not doing that. And I'll tell you, here's why. Here's how I can justify that. Here's the next big issue that I have. The paperwork that they wanted us to sign said something to the effect of that there's no limits, that they can come after us for as much as they'd like, whether it's arbitrary or not, and it is not limited by the scope or the limits of our insurance. So that means that if it's late or they decide that something's wrong with it, they can just come after me, and I basically signed my business away. Here's the thing. It was a 300-mile run with 4 stops. We were just using it to just kind of pick up and kind of bump down the road and get some other places. But for that kind of risk, you're basically asking me to sign over the pink slip to my business for a 300-mile 4-stopper that was not paying particularly great. It wasn't trash, and again, I'm not that kind of guy to bring up the broker's name. I would never do that. It wasn't a trash rate. It wasn't the best rate. It was decent, but that's not enough. The juice is not worth the squeeze for me to consider signing everything I have built and everything I've worked so hard to do. Not doing it. So we emailed and said, look, hey, we just took a look at your broker carrier agreement. We're not going to be able to sign this. Unfortunately, I don't believe that we're going to be able to pull this load for you. You're going to have to repower it, put it back up on the board, whatever you're going to have to do. And it's unfortunate, but just because you're in talks with somebody doesn't mean that you have to absolutely climb into bed with them, metaphorically speaking. Now, if you've signed a rate con and then change your mind, that's a problem. That means that you have promised this person, I will do this work because you've promised you will pay me X amount of dollars for said work. And if you decide, you know what, I'm not doing it, I haven't gotten to the pickup yet and I changed my mind, expect to be freight guarded for that because you can't do business like that. We don't do business like that. And if I were a broker, I'd be livid. You would be on my hot list. Boy, I'd be pissed if I was a broker. But that's why you do your due diligence now. That's why you do your research now. And just to kind of circle back onto another reason I mentioned about that broker asking all those other questions, they're asking for questions and copies of paperwork and things like that. Let's say that, how do I articulate this? The worst case scenario would be is they take the picture of my operating authority or they take the picture of my W-9 and all this other stuff and they go to try to book loads under my name. Granted, that's why on Safer it goes straight to my cell phone because I know what I can control. I am the first of many fail-safes and choke points to prevent that kind of goofy shit from happening, first of all. But they could take it and try to prospectively book something under my name with another goofball broker. And next thing you know, I've got a freight guard on it. And it's, we ran a load in this state or whatever, and we were thousands of miles from it. So I'd much rather err on the side of caution than worry about what kind of nightmare it can turn into. So that's kind of why I thought this was an important thing for newer folks to kind of know and understand. The bottom line is, learn to research, learn to put things through these certain paces and kind of really understand who you may or may not be giving the keys to your own home. So if you happen to have any questions, comments, concerns, is there something that you'd also like for me to cover? More than happy to do it. As always, I pretty much end every video saying that. Come talk to me. You want to learn? I want to teach. So hope everybody's having a great week and we'll holler at you guys later.